Hey guys, what's up? My name is Ali. Welcome to my channel, and if you're new here, I'm a performer that travels the world and I post lots of travel content. So stay tuned for that and click that subscribe button. If you've come across this video, it's probably for one of two reasons. Either you are very curious to see what the castle looks like now after the fire, or maybe you're like, what fire, what is going on? Like, I wanted to go see that castle, what happened to it? Either way, we're gonna cover all of that, so stay tuned and keep watching. Also, a little preface going into this video. The reason why I'm gonna be sitting down like this and talking about it is because in that moment, I didn't realize what had happened. I kind of came upon the castle and was completely blindsided. I didn't know that it had burned down, so forgive me, please. Anyways, let's get started. So maybe you're wondering, how did she end up here? So before this, I was in Okinawa for a couple days with my friends, but we were more on the north side and we didn't have a car. So we couldn't do a lot of things that I wanted to do, and one of the most iconic things in Okinawa is Shuri Castle. And if you haven't seen my other Okinawa videos, you can click here, yay! Anyway, so I was in Okinawa with my friends for a couple days and they were headed back to Tokyo, and I was wanting to continue on to do another adventure. If you want to see that adventure, eventually once I make it, which will be next week, it will be linked right here. So stay tuned for that. So their flight was earlier than mine, so I decided I was gonna take my extra time and go see this castle. Now I'm on my own and I'm gonna go to Shuri Castle. So that's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be a 45-minute walk, so we'll see how that goes in the heat. Okay, so if you can't tell, I am incredibly sweaty right now. It is very humid. It's around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, so yeah, this walk has been not so easy, but I'm almost at the castle after 45 minutes. Oh gosh. Yeah, so I'm really excited to see Shuri Castle because on my long walk here, I've been doing a lot of Okinawan research. So it wasn't until 1879 that Okinawa became a prefecture of Japan, and that's, I mean, when you think of it, it's kind of relatively recent, so I think it's really interesting that this was such a big symbol of the Ryukyu. I'm so sorry if I'm messing up that name, but it was a big symbol of the Ryukyu kingdom. Oh gosh, that's so hot. And it is now being preserved as a National Heritage Site. So after I went on this walk, I'm finally there. Like, I can see on my Google Maps, like, okay, it's somewhere around here. It looked like this, it was this big landmass, but I didn't know that going in. So I like step on the grounds and I'm like, I'm here, but there was so much, I literally had no idea where to go. And obviously my main goal was to see the big iconic red castle, but I had no idea which way that was. Nothing's in English, so I'm like trying to mosey my way around, and finally, I think I'm almost there. So I ended up coming around to this little courtyard, and there was a little area where you could buy tickets. So I'm starting to think, if I buy one of these tickets, then maybe the castle is in there. I really wasn't sure. Nobody was really able to help me, and there were no tourists there because Okinawa had just opened up to domestic tourism. No foreigners, should I say. Like, I was the only person who was not like native Japanese during my visit. Anyway, so I end up buying a ticket, not really knowing what I'm getting into, but figuring, okay, something good must be in there. So buy my ticket, get my little pamphlet, and my pamphlet, mind you, does have a picture of the castle on it. So I'm having high hopes at this point. I walk through the door and I am confused, like very, very, very confused. It kind of looked like a construction site. There were a bunch of areas roped off. There was a lot of artifacts just kind of like displayed in some like ditches, and I was just confused at this point because I didn't know anything had happened. I tried to take some video, but I was like, where am I? Like, what am I looking for? Where is this castle? I'm still so confused, which looking back at it, I kind of feel embarrassed saying that, but I mean, that was just the nature of it. Like, how was I supposed to know?
So I make my rounds. I'm kind of going quickly because I have to end up being back at the airport in a couple hours, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm looking for. So after I finish looking at all of this stuff that I don't really understand, I walk out and I'm like, okay, not really sure what this is, but I'll just start walking in this other direction that I haven't covered yet, and maybe it'll be there. Well, eventually I reach the exit and I realize there's nothing left.
So I am just about done at Shuri Castle, and I feel like I just was not prepared. I don't think I did enough research in regard to this particular castle, because this photo, like all the photos, the gorgeous photos that you see online, I was expecting to see that, and I was walking around and it wasn't really happening. And I found out that there was a fire in 2019 that literally burned almost everything to the ground. And I was looking around like, it kind of looks like they're doing construction here, and I just feel so dumb, because I feel like maybe that's something I should have known going into this. I mean, that doesn't change my experience at all. Everything was still incredible, and it's been amazing how they've been able to preserve what they did. But it just makes me really sad that a World Heritage Site like this was burned to the ground. And just a side note, to be more specific, it burned down in October of last year. So it hasn't even been a year since the fire happened, and obviously no travel blogs that I looked at were that recent because of coronavirus. So, surprise.
I ended up finding out that these grounds weren't even open until mid-June, and I was here in early July. I mean, so I got pretty lucky that I was even able to see it. What I found out is that basically they're trying to be really transparent about what happened. It was most likely an electrical system failure of some sort, and that's what led to this fire, which is so tragic and absolutely heartbreaking. I came to find out from a friend that this was all over Japanese news. This was like the big thing that was going on back in October of 2019. But I mean, I was in America at that point. That was not big news internationally, so I didn't know anything about it, and I feel like most tourists and people going to visit in the future probably won't know that it's not there. They are making plans for restoration, which I think is really great, and I know that they are trying to make the process as authentic and real as possible. Like, they're not just gonna cover it up like, no, you can't come in here, it's not perfect yet. They are taking those steps to recreate what was once there. Of course, there are things that are not going to be the same, but a lot of the ancient artifacts were saved, which is really great. So at the end of the day, I'm really stoked that I did get to see anything. Like, there was still stuff in there. Unfortunately, I didn't know what I was getting into. So I guess my purpose of this video is more of an informative tool, so you could see kind of what I saw, even though it wasn't a lot. Maybe if you were like, oh, I'm going to Okinawa, I want to see this amazing castle, just know it unfortunately was burned down in a tragic fire last year. It will eventually be something grand and beautiful again, but unfortunately, this is what happened. Either way, I would recommend you go visit and pay your respects and just enjoy the history that's there. All right, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for more travel videos. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you liked this. I've lived in Japan for 2 years. Right now I'm in America because of COVID, but hopefully I'll be back. Hopefully I'll be doing more things, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. Arigatou gozaimasu.